Did you miss me? So sorry to be late. Hopefully I can make up for lost time. Welcome to Watches Tonight.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Watch Insider. My name is Brian and thank you for logging on.
Whoa, hello. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Trading Desk with me, myself, Joshua Thanos, my Lord and Savior, Jason Main, and our newest apostle, Rob Velasquez, where the street name is...
Spanish Rob.
That's right, Spanish Rob. Hey,
How's it
man.
going?
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Now, in defense of Richard Mille, because controversy involves two sides, here's how it works. First, RM on the customer caliber count and customer components. RM works with top-notch suppliers. Unimpeachable stuff going into these watches. Let's start with Valgine for cases. RM turns to one of its equity stakeholders, Dominique Gounat, and his Valgine enterprise. This is a thing. These Valgine cases are of industry-leading quality, manufactured in many different materials, impeccably finished and assembled. And Richard Mille, or its proper entity name, Eurometrie SA, has made real investments in Valgine's facilities and partners. In 2013, RM created ProArt SA to act as its high-end primary source fabrication for all cases in all case materials. And RM, Valgine, and NTPT, which is a materials supplier, all represented in this image, actually got together last fall and created a new clean room expressly for RM case fabrication. It includes positive pressurization, filtration, machining, an autoclave, carbon layup. All of this expensively assembled specifically for Richard Mille's use. So technically, yes, this is a form of outsourcing. It will be done on the premises of another company. But I think it's also clear that RM is really making an investment and doing something more than mailing a letter to somebody else's factory with a check enclosed. Now, more suppliers. Dubois de Praz and Vaucher manufacture. Dubois de Praz of Lalou. They are a world leader in complication modules as featured on brands as far-flung and respectable as Audemars Piguet and Jaeger-LeCoultre. In other words, these guys are prime time. They are for real. No apologies necessary. Vaucher manufacture, producing the base calibers, is the movement powerhouse and an arm of Parmigiani. And we don't need to recount their pedigree here or their capabilities. As good as anything in the world. Literally as good as anything you'll see in Glasuta or Le Sentier at Jaeger-LeCoultre. And I'll mention, if you're going to buy from the best. Moreover, huge customization of the basic modules and calibers are performed in the name of Richard Mille. So, for example, here's a standard caliber from Vaucher. This is what it would look like if you bought it off the shelf. You send the check, the factory sends you a movement. And here's an RM base of the same technical origin. Can we go full screen with this, guys? This is the same core genus, highly modified and mutated for RM, with grade 5 titanium bridges and plates, skeletonized bridges, variable inertial winding system, clear sapphire pivots, and shock absorber couplings. By the same token, here's a standard Dubois de Praz chronograph module. This is what it looks like if you buy it off the shelf. And here it is, shaped, skeletonized, and decorated, rendered in titanium for loop-level scrutiny on an RM dial. Big change. The moral of the story is the same as I've always preached, which is to judge a customer caliber by modifications, value added, and improvements made to suit the application, not by the lack of in-house pedigree. For example, and here's another great instructive photograph right here, a PAM 318. So this is a Panerai PAM 318, famously known as the Brooklyn Bridge reference, and right in there is a completely unmodified Unitas 6497. That's what it looks like when it comes out of the box. And here is a Molnar Fabry, proving just how much of change you can render on the basic material. This thing is not even related to what you saw in the case back at the Panerai. With Richard Mille, the difference is this stark, this dramatic, and it does include this much value added for the end user. One more supplier, Audemars Piguet. More specifically, Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, or, as they're known, watchmakers to the gods. All of the ultra-high-met and haute horlogerie Richard Mille watches. The high-mech stuff, like that RM2701 Rafa Nadal, that's made by the high end of Audemars Piguet. The finish, engineering, the watchmaking, the craft art, and the traditional applications that go into that are as good as anything you will find in the Supersonnery or the Royal Oak concepts, because they're made and engineered by the same people. None in the world is better.
Let's pick up the AP because we just mentioned one. So this is a really cool piece. This is a rose gold Royal Oak chronograph, Leo Messi edition, limited to 400 pieces. So this is I believe this was the first limited edition that they did with the new 41mm Royal Oak case. Is that correct?
You know, honestly, I believe this was because it came out literally the year of the 41. This was a 2012 limited edition, so
Yes.
they came out at the same time.
And they did it both. They did it in rose gold. They did it in, was it stainless and platinum?
Every version of this watch has one key common thread. There is no tapisserie dial, and there's a tantalum bezel,
Correct.
as well as tantalum intermediate links. Now, the total series was 1,000 pieces. This one was 400. This is a completely different look, and you have to slap yourself and remind yourself it's not an offshore. It's not part of that continuity. They went with the original Royal Oak chronograph for Leo Messi, and the result was sublime. Slim, wearable, impressive wrist presence, and with the tantalum almost blue-gray bezel, it is a truly unique aesthetic. I think Audemars Piguet has taken the approach of making fewer but better special editions since 2012.
Yeah, and I think that this to me was beautifully executed. I like that they came out with them in platinum, rose gold, and steel, with obviously steel being the most, then rose, then platinum. The watch was executed very nicely. It was different enough from the original that it drew notice, but similar enough that it didn't get too crazy like some of their other editions. And you know, these have been some of their Messis have been some of their most successful editions to date.
Also, you can see that the 41 is no joke. This is why the 38mm chronograph came back this year. This is almost like wearing an offshore. I say almost because it's not thick, but in terms of the physical plot of wrist real estate it occupies, it's absolutely equal to a 42mm offshore. That said, the dial is really the key to the appeal of this one, the dial and the bezel. And you can see the dial is both satin finished metal and tritone. It has silver, it has anthracite, and it has rose gold. This is beautifully warm, and although all versions of this watch are good, I would say this is probably the version that can be considered great, and it's right down to the use of that warm gold tone in rose.
Yeah, and I think tantalum and rose, just the colors play off of each other very nicely. And I think that that's one of the biggest reasons why this is my favorite version of the watch, is just that you know, that dark gray with the rose is a very nice combination.
I also love the triple finish, the case back of this one. You could see that the center is a blasted frosted profile with raised and relieved high polished Royal Oak logo, and then circumferentially it's a circular brushed grain. So this is a triple finished case back, and I do appreciate that attention to detail, especially where it will rarely be seen.
You can do that. So here's a watch from a brand that makes probably a few dozen watches.
Close. You know what the funny thing is? I was just like, I've heard of that name, but I've never actually seen one of these watches before. I was pretty surprised. Like, I haven't seen this. What is this?
We
Look
get
at this
Jade in
thing.
the office.
There it is. Okay. So
Bernhard Lederer.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know what this is because I literally just saw it
Nobody
the first
does.
time here. It just has what
Nobody's
here,
seen
like,
one of
this,
these.
this detaches and this magnifying glass kind of loops around,
Right.
moves around. I think for the purpose of seeing this floating escapement and the
No,
engraving.
frying ants. It's for frying ants.
For frying
on
ants,
the sidewalk
definitely.
on a sunny day.
Yeah.
And then there's the guilloche. But if you take a look at this box crystal, that's kind of cool. And go back
We
to
get
the.
a-
There it is.
Yeah.
See how that's raised? That's pretty cool. Then you have the finishing. No, not really. Okay, it's a solid thick thing. It's like a $300 retail watch.
No,
We're not sure-
300,000.
That's what I meant. 300,000 retail.
Not
Couple
a big guy.
zeros, yeah.
Yeah, 300. Yeah, 300 retail. You know what I mean?
300,000.
When I
It's all the
say
same to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big thing with
Spanish
this
rub.
thing, you know,
Swimming in
obviously
pesos.
it's you know, got the full tourbillon escapement, you know, 3-dimensional dial, which is really cool. It's I mean, it's different. Is it
So here's a
a
brand.
great way to spend 300 grand? Probably not.
Well, you wouldn't have to spend 300,000 on that
yeah.
watch. You could buy that watch like this. So we have this actually
You could
for
play
sale
with
for
this
60 grand.
If you're into like fidget
spinners?
you can play with this.
Until it breaks.
I think it's a little weird that it only locks in one position, and then also the thing that gets me is you can't highlight the escapement, which would have been really cool.
Yeah. See, that
With the
would
magnifier.
It's
but,
just a tourbillon. Nobody really cares.
but it's
Jason.
you know
It doesn't. It
it's a
doesn't
really
line up.
cool
Does it line up right over?
No, it doesn't line over on the Tourbillon.
It should have.
Well, you want to
but-
see the map of the United States.
Yeah, that's
Look,
why.
there's your home, Jason, Florida.
Yeah, I think it's more like South.
Well, that's why it's
America.
59.5 now.
That's right.
So yeah, you know,
You think that's
if you
worth
want
60
to,
grand?
if you want to walk around, you know, with what could be a Lamborghini on your wrist for only 60 grand,
Bam.
and have that
The
you know,
Corvette
that,
price
that
for a
bam,
Lamborghini watch.
then I guess you know it makes sense. But
Well, but Lederer is known for making movements for other brands. He does a few
Right.
dozen of his own watches. This thing, I mean, realistically, it's special in the fact that, you know, a super high-end watchmaker, that watch is as funky as it gets. You will not meet another person wearing that
it's got a
watch.
very like
Whether or not
MB&F
you want to
feel
wear it, you know, that's something else. You
like
know,
an
but-
Urwerk or MB&F feel to it, I would say.
Yeah, for a quarter of the price of either of those.
Yeah.
Or like a Grubel. It looks a lot like a Grubel to me without, you know.
Gribbles.
I wonder how old this thing is. Where is this
Infinitely
from? I really want to look this up. Where's Tim Lasso?
1895. This watch was rescued from the bottom of the ocean, and today for you only $60,000.
Where's Tim?
We can call him.
Tell him to ask about this.
Is that all the watches? Yeah.
Well,
so
I
that's,
mean, I brought some random watches.
look
This
at
is
that.
one of my favorites all around.
I noticed
every
you
day.
switched that in the middle of the show.
I was like, I felt naked. I only
Yeah.
had one watch on, so I was like, I have to put one on because I left the Batman out
next
there.
out of the box will be the Invicta.
Yeah.
How'd you fit the Invicta in here?
That's titanium.
So I don't want to show this off because this is like what I think is one of the most hidden gems, and they zoom in. Thanks, guys. One of the most hidden gems of the industry of the watch, or just watches in general. It's a titanium Seamaster chronograph, and like I said before, I love chronographs. So I mean, I'm using them constantly to time everything. You know, when I'm traveling and everything, I'm cooking, whatever.
Cooking.
But you can use I want to wear a watch that I can take anywhere with me and take it in the water and not take it off and just like go in bodies of water traveling and not have to worry about it. So that I can actually use the chronograph in the water, that it's solid
You
and
can
it's
use
light.
this chrono. You can
Yeah,
press
so
the-
Omega, so those don't unscrew.
Oh,
You just
yeah.
can push them. It's one of
Good
one of the
luck.
few brands that actually works.
It'll work for a while.
I'm sure it'll work.
And this, I mean, don't get me wrong. The titanium model was discontinued like in the 2000s.
Bring
It's
us
been a
some
long
water.
time.
Let's see if we can break this right here on camera.
I mean, I had
Dude,
it
it's
for like
nice,
10
though.
plus years, and it's pretty solid. This is a little tight on me
So
too.
I have a,
That's fine.
I had it on a strap.
I have a wave dial, not a chronograph, but I have a wave dial that's actually
Steel.
in getting serviced right now. So it could be water resistant again, which it is not currently. But I think they're cool watches, and for not a lot of money, you get an instant street cred.
Yep.
With watch guys, and you get something that's really robust and has some history, and it's freaking James Bond. I mean, like how much cooler could it get?